Hi guys, welcome back to the Creative Corner. We have rearranged some stuff, as you can tell. We also still have some blankness, and down towards the bottom there's some. But it's a work in progress. I started taking down some diamond paintings to put a couple more up. Found one that I sealed because I was testing some stuff, and the ceiling was peeling off like freaking snake skin. It's kind of fun to touch though. And it was peeling off diamonds with it, so gotta fix that one. That's a stitch one, and they'll go back up here after I figure that out. And then there's a couple others. Ariel, I said in the video that her face looked weird. It's because she's missing a bunch of diamonds. Don't know why. Kind of got an idea. Think some kids that hang out here were pulling on them. But because of that, like this one's missing some diamonds, but you can't really notice too much from where you're at that it's missing diamonds. Um, anyway, so we have to redo it a little bit further than I thought we would, but that's okay. We live this area, and I have people that are more than happy to always fill it up with stuff. So keep your eyes out on the back wall because it will be changing. Until then, we're gonna sit in the corner because if I put you at the normal end, we have this, which I don't like. So we're gonna sit like this today. I think this works. I try not to go too far down just because I don't want to bump it, but we're going to try to go a little bit further down. We are going to review some books today. I finished knitting this. It's another hat. Well, a headband. This is a pink one for our author Amber M. Kessner, who I'm friends with. These things are super cute because you pull them on. Amber, I hope it doesn't bug you that I'm wearing this. I'm just showing it. I can make you a new one if you want. I know she watches these. So you pull it up, and I make them where you can keep it on your ears to cover your ears in the winter, and it'll keep it warm. But you can also push it back and just pull your ears out. It works either way. But they're nice and thick. I don't wear headbands often because I don't like the way my hair looks. Naturally curly, always frizzy. It's insane. And so, anyway, so I finished this one for Amber, and then I'm working on one for her kid, and her kid requested a light purple. So we're going to knit the light purple one while we do a book review. Let's see. I know what book we're going to review. I've been wanting to talk about this book for a while. Where is it? Where are you? Oh, that's a good book too, but that's not the one I want to talk about. I know it's in here. It's green. There it is. We're going to be talking about Forged by Magic by Jenna Wolfhart, and that is Wolfhart. I always try to remember. I forget a lot of times, like link-wise. When I say I'm going to put a link in the box, I forget. I forgot earlier and had to go drop links in the box after the video posted. But I will try to remember to put the author's name in the description when I talk about what book we're talking about. So, we're going to talk about Forged by Magic by Jenna Wolfhart. It is 310 pages long. It is a high fantasy story. I started reading it on December 28th of 2024, finished it December 29th of 2024. Yeah, I finished a 300-page book in 2 nights. 2 nights of reading, simply because I loved this story. It was published in 2023. The themes are new beginnings, healing old wounds, found history, enemies to lovers, politics, and kind of racism. It's kind of racism because it really depends on what you consider to be a person, okay? Fantasy is really good at that, okay? For instance, if you don't like an elf, you're racist. If you don't like a unicorn, that's normal, all right? You don't, so you have to take in fantasy's version of people because in here we have a lot of different species, but it's primarily humans, elves, and orcs that we're dealing with. And the racism comes in the form of, well, and frost giants. And the racisms come in the form of the frost giants not liking the orcs. Alright, some of them are okay with it, some of them aren't. The king absolutely hates them, wants them destroyed. He thinks that they are evil, not evil. He thinks that they're threatening his power as the king of the ice giants. And so he sets out and destroys them all. And that's where our story starts. Our story just starts after he has destroyed all the orcs but one. And her, he says he kept alive because they were friends when they were children. She thinks he kept her alive as like a sort of trophy because she's only half orc. She's it's never really fully explained what all she is, but I'm pretty sure she's orc and human, but it could be orc and elven. I'm not sure. All right. But I really love this book. All right. I almost didn't pick this book up. I'm going to be honest. I don't read monster romances. I'm cool with some shifters occasionally. I like vampire romance. I think that it adds another level to vampire stories if there's romance in it because a vampire is supposed to be the perfect killer. So they're supposed to be seductive. Um, I'm saying I'm a lot. I apologize. I'm working on that. I like some werewolf romances. Not all of them. Some of them. Like mermaid romances. But I usually stay away from orcs, dragons. I've read a couple dragon romances that I like, but most of them I just stay away from. And demon romances, alien romances, those aren't really things that I look into. So I wasn't going to pick this one up because it had an orc romance interest in it. But it had something different than a lot of the monster romances I've seen, where the guy is elvish and the girl is the orc. And so I was like, I kind of want to read it, but I kind of don't. And then my sister gifted me this book for Book Flood. And so I got to read it, and I read it, and it was amazing. So our main character, as I said, is half orc. This book is very much based in Norse mythology. I don't know much about Norse mythology, I'm going to be honest. I'm more of a Greek mythology fan. And so I did go to my brother a few times because he loves Norse mythology. And I said, hey, tell me about how this connects to this. And so we had some cool discussions, but it has a lot of Norse mythology references to it. All wolves are basically called Fenyirs, which, if you don't know much about Norse mythology, and I don't, but I do know this part, Fenrir is a wolf, is Loki's kid. It is 18 plus for some seamy sex scenes. It's enemies to lovers. The elf doesn't trust the orc because she is a well-known killer for the king of the frost giants, and the frost giants want to conquer everything. Well, the king does. Not all the frost giants do, okay? They're under a very hateful ruler, and he likes his people, but he doesn't like anyone else. Only his people. And so he sets out to take over as many places that he can and to get as much fame and glory as he can. And there are whispers in the kingdom that the people would prefer his sister to be on the throne to him because she's a lot more kind-hearted. And he sends out our main character to find the Isles. The Lost Isles are supposedly have Draugr on them. Draugr confused me at first, that term. Okay, because Draugr in Skyrim, the game, are undead. And as far as I knew, from what I do know of Norse mythology, they were undead warriors, right? And here they're blood mages, basically, but not. I don't. It's a new thing almost. It would be what we would consider a blood mage to be in like games like Dragon Age. Okay, like they bind themselves to a dragon, and they can control their dragon with their own essence. But they bind themselves to the dragon, and the dragon's magic is actually what they're using, and it makes them go mad over time. And so the king sends our orc female to go after these isles because he thinks that the last remaining draggers are on these isles. All right. While there, she finds out that the king has not been completely honest with her, and neither has her own history. She doesn't know much about being orc. She doesn't know much about the orc's history because her parents died when she was young, and then she was taken in by her orc leader, her orc king, and then he was overthrown by the frost giant king, who then kept her as a pet and locked her in a tower and just used her to flaunt his power and threaten people, and she became his like unwilling mercenary. She's a mercenary, but she's not a mercenary because she doesn't want to be a mercenary, but she's made to be. Okay? That's brought up in here a few times. And so she goes to these isles and she gets shipwrecked there. And she meets this elf who wants her gone because he wants to keep the isles safe. And he wants to keep them safe because he too has reason to hate the king and the Draugr. And I can't go into too much detail about that without spoiling the plot. But so they come to terms here, and he says that since she's stuck there and can't leave for a couple months because the weather is too unpredictable and you can't get ships in and out for a while because of the stormy season. He tells her that she can live with him in his forge at his house, but that she has to compete in this island's annual games and help him. And she's like, fine, whatever. And so she competes in these trials, and she finds out that the reason he wants to win these trials so bad is because if you win, you get to ask the island itself for a gift, and the island grants the gift. And there are there's sabotage going on, there's a couple different subplots, there's some romance going on in here, and basically this story is about two people who have been hurt so much in the past, learning to love, learning to open up to each other, learning that it's okay to heal from past wounds, it's okay to trust, and it's okay to begin again, is what this is about. I adored this book. I want to read the second one so bad. I really hope it takes place on the same isles, and I know it focuses on a different couple, but I hope it takes place on the same isles because this is a very rich world, and I think it will be an amazing thing to explore. Sorry, I got Discord messages popping up. I was kind of reading them. The plot was well thought out and interesting. There are two characters in it with similar names, okay? It was kind of hard. There's like Godfrey, and then there's Jeffrey or Gregory. Anyway, their names are so close together, I kept getting confused on which one was the quiet one and which one was actually a sneaky little creep. Okay, so there is that. Uh, it's not fast paced, but it's really well thought out, and the pace is really good. It's got drama, it's got love, it's got the forced proximity trope along with the enemies to lovers, and she gets confused because she can smell Draugr, and Draugr smell like dragons. And the elf she's staying with smells like dragons, but she's sure he's not a Draugr because she's been staying with him. And so she doesn't know how he can smell like dragons. And then, this isn't really a spoiler, so I'm going to tell you this. Then it turns out that he's actually like taking care of some baby dragons. He's been raising them because he found them, and he's just been helping them. And so he smells like dragons because he goes to feed them. And there's this whole subplot on how she learns that her people are actually really connected to the dragons, like way more than she thought, because when the Frost Giant King destroyed her kingdom, he destroyed all history of her people. And she hadn't known much about it anyway because she was so young, and so a bunch of it was lost. And this girl who she had saved on one mission recognizes her on the island and tells her about a book that she's human, but she had an orcish husband. And she tells her about a book that had the orcish history and how her king had taken the book as a prize after destroying the orcs. And so then she sets out to get this book. And if I had to give it any criticism, any plot criticism, the ending is wrapped up very fast. All right? It's almost like the author, I don't want to say couldn't think out how to do it, but more like they realized that they were running out of time to do everything that they wanted to, and so they had to paraphrase some stuff. It still wraps it up neatly. It's just you don't get to see this giant battle that could have happened. Instead, the battle doesn't get happened. It gets resolved a different way. But it's still a good book. So I overall gave this book 5 stars. In our writing section, it had 5 stars, enjoyment 5 stars, setting 5 stars, readability 5 stars, Plot 5 stars, characters 4 stars, simply because those two names threw me off like several times. It wasn't just a one-time thing. It was their names were so close together that I got them confused several times. I was like, why are they trying to hook this guy up with this chick when he just tried to kill someone? Well, it's because that guy wasn't the one who tried to kill someone. The guy's a totally different person who's just quiet in the corner. And I understand that that's how life works. And there are people with different names, okay? There are so many people I met with my name. So many. But for the sake of a story, it's not a good idea to have names so close together because your reader can get confused and you can get confused. You have to change it up a little bit just for it to be concise and readable. And so I gave it 4 in the characters category just for that reason. But otherwise, it was a good book, and I will be picking up the next one. What's going on? Why is my yarn? Oh. What is this? That is in my yarn. I'm just bad. It's like someone melted plastic. There we go. On the yarn. Had to happen in the factory because I've been knitting for a while, so that was wrapped in there. So anyway, I'm going to finish up this twisted headband for Zia. And then in our next book review we do, I will probably be working on a hat for her grandmother. So if you see any projects that I work on that you like, let me know. Just reach out to me. I have a couple of headbands that I do not have claimed yet, and basically what I'm going to do is it's going to be a make an offer is what I'll do on anything that's unclaimed, and I'll tell you if it's going to someone or not. And those unclaimed ones can be purchased, and if they aren't purchased by the end of the year, I will find some place to donate them to. Is what I'll do. So, because, I mean, I plan on making some bunnies soon, some stuffed bunnies. One for Amber, one for my niece because she found this cute yarn that's called Jelly Grape and she wants a Jelly Grape bunny. So we're gonna make her a bunny. But then I know that I'm gonna have some extra from both, and so I'm probably gonna make a mixed bunny that's part pink, part purple because I think they're cute. And if I have enough, I might make one with a pink body and purple limbs and ears, and then a purple body with pink limbs and ears. We'll find it. We'll see. I'll mess around with them for a little bit. So I got some new yarns, so not very many, but a few, and we're gonna try some projects. And then after that, we are gonna learn to crochet. It's gonna take a bit, but we are gonna learn to crochet, even if we have to start simple, start easy with a granny square. We're gonna do it. And so you'll see some crochet on here. You're going to see me screw up a lot because crochet is something that I've tried to learn in the past and could not get the hang of. Even though I can knit, I have a hard time figuring out how they do what they do with one hook. Like, it takes 2 needles to do this. In knitting, it takes 4 needles to make a circle. But they make a circle with 1 hook. Or a loom. I can make a circle with a loom. That's how I do the bunnies. I use a loom so I can make the circle on there. So it's a little bit of a almost language barrier between my knitting and crochet learning, but I'm going to pick it up and we're going to do this. And we are going to knit some cute little animals, and then I'm going to put all my little patterns in a book and keep them so I can make more of them. And that's life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Go pick up Forged by Magic by Jenna Wolfhart if you like high fantasy. High fantasy, it deals with a lot of world building. This is a very unique world. It is great. I believe that my review is already up on Goodreads. I've been just posting the single sentence reviews, which on here it's a wonderfully enchanting tale about loss, love, and new beginnings. I did put it 100% reached its target audience, and I do think its target audience is 18 plus romantasy lovers. The aim of the book was to show that everyone can start anew, and it accomplished this very well. I love this book. It's a great story about learning to love and starting fresh. I'm a sucker for enemies to lovers too, and this book shows how trust and love are the most important things in the world. So, pick it up, guys, and thanks for hanging with me in our creative.